A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again, Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
A blessed good day to you, my wisdom warriors. Wagwan, wagwan. I hope you guys are in good spirit. Well, so my wisdom warriors, you know, so today is the PNP press conference today, and may I tell you, say, them have a lot to say. A whole heap of things are going. The government of Jamaica is not helping the people. They are not helping the people. And I hope everybody see that. When you see the World Kitchen and you see different organizations around, it is not the government. I want to understand that. It is not the government. And Andrew Wellness must go, Jamaica. Andrew Wellness must go. You understand? Our people is in a vulnerable state right now. And I'm calling on the people that weren't affected to stand up for your brothers and sisters. Stand up for them. Andrew Wellness must go. What a wicked man. How this a brother is so wicked? Jesus mercy, my people. I want to listen carefully to what Dayton Campbell have to say. Hear this.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Senator Cleveland. This morning, I just want to give an update as to where we are in terms of Eastern Westmoreland and what has been done and what we are recommending to be done. So Eastern Westmoreland is where you would find New Hope, which is where landfall was made. And I believe it is the only constituency where the eye of the storm went across all of the constituency as a Category 5 hurricane. It left a trail of devastation and disaster. And we have estimated that approximately 5,000 houses have been totally destroyed. I'm not referring to houses that were damaged. I'm talking about those that are totally destroyed, just rubble remaining. We have countless others that suffered significant damage, moderate damage, and mild damage to the infrastructure. In terms of churches, schools, police station, health centers, all of those were also severely damaged and non-functional in the immediate wake. There is a need for urgent intervention, especially in the area of housing and temporary housing solution for the residents. The response has been inadequate, delayed, and sometimes even inappropriate in my mind. And I say this because one would expect that coming out of a hurricane of this magnitude, that having made landfall in the constituency, that would have seen mobilization of government ministries, departments, and agencies to that area and intervention being made to deal with the issues confronting the people. I want to thank, though, members of the private sector, the private companies, private individuals, non-governmental organizations, including GEM Foundation, Samaritan's Purse, World Central Kitchen, Mercy Chefs. Had it not been for some of these groups, I don't know what would have happened to the residents of Eastern Westmoreland because they have stepped in a big way to ensure that some of the things that are needed have been done thus far. We benefited from a visit of some of the CARICOM leaders, and President Ali out of Guyana committed to doing 200 roofs for some of the affected residents between Bluefields and White House. And in putting together the meeting to discuss that, when the JDF and Ministry of Labour and ODPEM called the meeting, they said they wanted to welcome the two members of parliament. Is the comfort in which the government is inserting their political operatives in the response mechanism and bypassing, circumventing the elected officials. I represent all of the constituents of Eastern Westmoreland. I have absolutely no interest in how they voted. This is a humanitarian crisis. It is not a political matter. And as elected officials, we have to be involved and consulted in the process because we know the communities, we know the areas, we know the people. Even in relation to the distribution of aid, to just have the JDF alone going into a committee, into a community is not sufficient because they won't know the lay of the land, they won't know the residents, and as such, that has left a lot of gaps. So I want to point out specifically some things now. Shelter. The shelters that are in the constituency, they have been inappropriate from the beginning and they continue to be inappropriate. There isn't a bed or a cot or anything in any of the shelters. To be frank, there are persons that are not even aware that some of the shelters are still open with over 20 persons in each one of them. And that means if you're not aware, you couldn't possibly be making any provisions for the residents within those shelters. The persons who are in the shelters are obviously the most vulnerable. They don't have anywhere to stay, they don't have any relatives to stay with, and that's the reason why they're at the shelter. And I realize that the Ministry of Education has also taken on an initiative to reopen schools as soon as possible, which I support because we want to decrease the learning loss. But in moving the persons from these shelters, majority of which are schools, so that school can reopen. Certainly, we can't just move them without making provision for them to stay elsewhere. In terms of emergency evacuation and shelter, housing of these persons, we have not seen any of those tents that are supposedly in the country that should be made available. I'm told that it was said in the Senate on Friday that tents went to Dayton Campbell, unless there is another Dayton Campbell that represents somewhere in Jamaica. It's certainly not this one. I have not been made aware of any tents. And I want to be on record as saying, I will never support moving out the persons out of the shelter unless we make provision for them. I will block it myself personally. That is inhumane. And we have to do better. So yes, we want the schools to open, but we must make adequate provision before we move the persons out of the shelters. We have, in looking at how we respond to the housing crisis, there are still persons that are under tarpaulin, still persons that are on a sheet of zinc. You still see mothers and children just under a sheet of zinc or on a piece of tarpaulin, right? There are still houses without tarpaulin that are yet to be covered. I have so far been told of allocations to the constituency, $3 million for cleaning in the prep work before the hurricane came. And that is after we made advocacy for some allocation because initially we were told that Western Jamaica is not a priority and there was no allocation. Then there was an allocation of $1.5 million, and that was made twice. So that's another $3 million. That was to get care packages and tarpaulins. Now, if you get a care package and you put $5,000 worth of supplies in it, that would only get you 600 care packages for a constituency with over 40,000 persons. Then there's an allocation of $10 million for housing. And I've said it elsewhere that the welcome to Montego Bay sign is $17 million. And we are given an allocation of $10 million in a constituency where 5,000 homes were totally destroyed. It is totally insufficient to meet the need that is there. And there is $3 million to RADA, which we have not been able to access as yet. That for a constituency where landfall was made, that has the majority of deaths, that has several persons still in shelters, several persons homeless, 5,000 houses destroyed, it's totally insufficient in terms of governmental response to the crisis that is there. We have been able, through Samaritan's person, I want to give Minister Tufton credit because despite our history of having confrontations in the parliament, he's the only minister of government that has informed me of his visit and involved me in his visit to the constituency. Others have said they're coming, but they have not actually made an attempt to ensure that we can actually um, connect whilst they are within the constituency. Their Starlink seems to malfunction when they are in Eastern Westmoreland. But we've been able to set up a field clinic in White House, and GEM Foundation has been able to re-roof the health center in Betheltown, White House, and in Darliston, and thus we're able to offer some medical care. There's still a significant gap, and MP Dawes is here that will speak to some of the health-related concerns, but there's still a significant gap where healthcare is concerned, and even just the disposal of human waste. It can't be that difficult for a country to put some portable toilets in a constituency that has been devastated. So at least we can discard of human waste in a safe and appropriate way. The distribution system that is there is also dysfunctional. We cannot have persons just driving into a constituency and just going randomly into areas without no form of logistics workout. There needs to be a contact point in each division. We are not trying to commandeer what people are bringing. I'm not saying to persons you can't take things to your community or to your family. I'm simply saying that we should know so we don't have duplication of the efforts. And what is happening currently is that people are on the main and they receive several times over. Then we have sick, indigent, disabled, those in the more remote parts of the constituency that are not benefiting. You would have seen the exchange in Parliament about the number of care packages distributed. You can't go to a community one time in 20 days when this food package is slated to last for just 3 to 4 days. What is expected of those persons for the additional time? Right? So there needs to be a proper structure that is placed that ensures that relief item can go to those areas. We've proposed the Adopt a Family initiative to give accommodation to some persons using containerized housing. And I want to thank the persons who have contributed to that thus far. And we've been able to deliver 6 units, and we have another 6 that are ordered and ready to be distributed. This is intended to be a temporary solution, the simplest thing in the short term. It is not a proposal for us to have a constituency with pure containerized houses across the of the constituency. We want the situation in Westmoreland in terms of land tenureship to be regularized. We had put a proposal on the table to move the time period to own government land, to move it from 6 years to 25 years. That's something that the government should immediately take on, right? To ensure that we can give the lands to these persons and that they can, some of them can build their own structures that can withstand hurricane. And the government as well should look at low income solutions on government lands for these persons. The aim is not to have board houses being rebuilt because that's an invitation for a second disaster. The CEO of JPS was with us a few days ago, and he stated that the videos and the pictures don't do justice, and that it is total devastation, and it's going to take a long time to rebuild the infrastructure. He said they will have to be creative, and he has proposed that we may need to get a generator in Darliston and one in White House so that we can at least power the police station, the health centers, and those things. A lot of persons are not cognizant of what is going on out in the western end of the country. Eastern Westmoreland is not what it used to be. The lives of the residents has been severely affected, and it will take a long time for them to return to normalcy. I know people are in a haste to move on, but in your haste to move on, do not forget that you have brothers and sisters that are on the fringes of survival. They are suffering and they need assistance urgently.
You see the reason why me cannot like Andrew Wellness? Because the whole of you out there, on the GLP bloggers, on out there do PR while the Jamaican people suffer. The whole of you out there do PR, Andrew Wellness stuck up himself, gone to Africa, and him people them a suffer. And a first PNP come out, and a call upon the government. It reached to a point them even beg. Andrew Wellness must go. Andrew Wellness administration must dismantle. The Jamaica Labour Party must dismantle from out of the country. These people don't care. Why do you guys want a government in power that don't give a shit about you? Mighty God of Daniel, them people are wicked. When me tell you say Andrew Wellness not have no vision, nothing a joke me I make. Me tell you all the time say a pure PR in do. Only hear Dean Jackson Miller say it. Only hear all even the JLP blogger come out and say PR cannot win the war. And that them say, them a one other JLP blogger say, listen to me. PR cannot win a war between JLP and PNP because the people them on the ground are suffer. Remember me talk about it. It is unacceptable for a government to behaving like this. You have the resources, you have the money and Wellness, but you're not helping Jamaica. It is wrong. You must go. You must resign. Jamaica, only for you sleep and mark that. Only for you sleep and mark that. And don't be surprised. Them come out and do a press conference too. Because that's all them do and tell pure lie. But guess what? The people them on the ground see and know what is going on. Andrew, you can't trick these people. You cannot trick them no more. You trick them once, you cannot trick them twice. Tell me what you really think about this and tell me how you feel about it. Put an honest opinion in the comment section. Like up the video, share it out and subscribe to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome and big up on a nice clean self. One love.
Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. They can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said they bag up promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher. Wonder when it does stop comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want to right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.